Hi guys, today as a continuation of the human brain, we shall talk about an important area, that is cerebrum or cerebral hemisphere. So before coming to that, as a revision of the brain and the meninges, just we can brush out. This is the cranium and there are three meninges: outer dura mater, middle arachnoid matter and inner pia mater. And then inside which get the brain. The brain is made up of three parts: forebrain or prosencephalon, midbrain or mesencephalon, and hindbrain or rhombencephalon. The forebrain consists of two parts: cerebrum and diencephalon. Diencephalon consists of thalamus, hypothalamus, and then you get the limbic system, hypophysis. These constitute the diencephalon. So the forebrain consists of the cerebrum and diencephalon, and the midbrain consists of corpora quadrigemina, two calculi, superior and inferior calculi, and then finally you get the hindbrain. The hindbrain is made up of three parts: one cerebellum, pons feroli, and medulla oblongata. So now we are confined ourselves to this part, important part, cerebrum, or the cerebrum is made up of cerebral cortex, two parts of cerebral cortex. It has got ups and downs. It's called sulcite and gyri. That depends upon the human beings. See, our brain has got more than 100 billion neurons, out of which 10% lies in the cerebrum. A cerebrum contains 10% of the whole neurons of the brain. So brain has got more than 100 billion neurons. 10% of the neurons are present in the cerebrum. Another thing you must know, the cerebrum is made up of 6 layers of neuron. If the cerebrum is made up of 6 layers of neuron, that is called as the neocortex. If the layers of cerebrum are less than 6, that cortex is called as the allocortex. Allocortex. So neocortex and allocortex you must differentiate. And then likewise, you should differentiate corpus callosum and corpus striatum. So you can see here the nerve band, corpus callosum. Corpus callosum is the nerve band connecting the cerebral hemispheres. Then what is corpus striatum? I'll explain. There is a basal ganglia, a big ganglia in the subcortical region of the forebrain. So the basal ganglia is made up of many nuclei, out of which the largest nucleus is called as the corpus striatum. What is the function of corpus striatum? Actually controls and plans and executes the stereotype movement of the body. So you should differentiate corpus callosum and corpus striatum. You can clearly see the corpus callosum here. And then mainly what are the functions? As a whole, the cerebrum has got important functions. What are they? Number one, initiation of the movement. So if I talk, or if I walk, or if I shake my hand, everything is controlled by the cerebrum, cerebral hemispheres. And that movement, initiated movement, is coordinated by the cerebral cortex. It maintains our body temperature. Body temperature is maintained by cerebral hemispheres, and then the feeling of touch, the feeling of vision are all controlled by the cerebral hemispheres. Likewise, hearing, the auditory function is also maintained by the cerebrum. Then judgment, so suppose you are taking a decision or you want to, something we are doing, we have to take a judgment. That judgment power is given by the cerebrum. And then reasoning, so for taking a judgment, we must reason out everything, what is what. So for that reasoning power, cerebral hemisphere is needed. And then problem solving, I already told you, problem solving. So if you want to take a decision before that, we have to, problem solving method is done by the cerebrum of the brain. Then all type of emotions, fear, anger, hunger, everything, all types of emotions are controlled by the cerebral hemispheres. And then learning, so we are learning everything, languages or mathematics, or we learn everything. That learning process is controlled, is maintained by the cerebral cortex. So these are the main functions as a whole of the cerebrum. Initiation of the movement, coordination of the movement, temperature, touch, vision, hearing, and then judgment, reasoning, problem solving, emotions and learning. These are the general functions as a whole of the cerebrum. If you take the cerebral hemispheres, that contains 4 lobes: frontal lobe, occipital lobe, parietal lobe and temporal lobe. What are the functions? These you must know, all these things you must know. So see guys, once again I often tell you, I am taking the class in the Neet point of view. Every word or every sentence is important for MCQ. Right, what is the function of the frontal lobe? I told you problem solving. Problem solving. Number 2, voluntary body movement. The brain contains 4 lobes: frontal lobe, occipital lobe, parietal lobe and temporal lobe. What are the functions of the frontal lobe? 1, problem solving. Number 2, voluntary body movement. And then sentence formation. So if you want to talk, we want to convey a message, a sentence formation is done by the frontal lobe. And then personality, the whole psychological and physical personality is maintained by the frontal lobe. So 4 main functions of the frontal lobe: problem solving, voluntary body movement, sentence formation, personality. Number 2, the occipital lobe is concerned with the visual information. It collects the visual information, seeing. Number 3, the parietal lobe is at the back of the brain. It has 2 hemispheres. It has got 3 main functions. 1, processing the sensory information. So we take a computer, there is a processor. Likewise, this parietal lobe acts as a processor for sensing the information. So it processes the sensory information. We get the sensory information and then coming to the 4th, temporal lobe, that is responsible for memory. It's very important. Memory is concerned with our temporal lobe because the hippocampus, a part of the limbic system, is present in the median line of the temporal lobe. That is responsible for memory. So as a whole, temporal lobe is responsible for memory because of the hippocampus. It's a part of limbic system lying in the middle line of the frontal temporal lobe. Then the temporal lobe is responsible for processing the speech and vision. The speech and vision are processed by the temporal lobe. And then recognizing whatever we see, feel, everything is recognized by the temporal lobe. And then memorizing, the memorizing power of the students, memorizing power of human beings depend upon the temporal lobe. And finally, forming speech. The speech formation, whatever we have to convey the matter by speech, that is controlled by the temporal lobe. So to summarize, so you can see here in this chart the control areas of the cerebrum. Here the legs, trunk and arms, motor area, and then this area is the speech area, reading, sight, hearing and smell, speech area, and here reading, sight, hearing and taste and smell. And then this frontal lobe is for reasoning area, just now I told you, reasoning area, and then this is the occipital lobe for vision. So you can see clearly the control areas of the cerebrum in this chart. So to summarize, the frontal lobe, problem solving, voluntary body movement, sentence formation and personality. And then 2 occipital for visual information, parietal lobe for processing sensory information, processing language and mathematics, interpreting visual information. And finally temporal lobe is for memory, processing speech and vision, recognizing, memorizing and forming speech. So I hope guys, in this chapter today I have covered everything regarding the cerebral hemispheres, cerebrum. What are the functions, what is corpus callosum, what is corpus striatum, and then what are the neurons, how many neurons are there in the cerebral cortex, what is neocortex, what is allocortex, and then 4 lobes of the cerebral hemisphere. Thank you very much.